Welcome back everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Now me personally, I'm not feeling too hot right now. I've had a few stressful weeks because there's another creator attempting to take down my channel. So I was originally planning to just use the first week of May to script out a response to Harmful Opinions and focus the rest of my energy on work, because I did transfer to a new job that week. But unfortunately my channel unexpectedly got hit with a strike accompanied by a legal notice. Another creator I recently criticized decided that they were going to attempt to silence the criticism by striking my video down. Now I've been scrambling to resolve the situation over the past few weeks by reaching out to the YouTuber in question and by attempting to get help from other creators in the space who usually call out this type of abusive behavior, but unfortunately all of my work has proven futile. The person who struck my video down is dead set on having it wiped from the internet, and none of the other DBD people I managed to get into contact with wanted to help me out. Meaning I now have to fight the fraudulent strike on my own, and they might even attempt to drag me to court over it, and since they have completely refused to even attempt to handle this privately, I'm gonna publicly reveal the identity of the YouTuber who decided to strike down my video, and I'm gonna debunk their horrible claims in tomorrow's upload. But before we can get to that situation, we're gonna have to take care of Harmful Opinions first. So as you probably know, I've made a video talking about Ev3ntic, the ex-partner of Otzdarva. Please watch that upload if you haven't already, it's essential to understanding today's video. Now I went over the cheating scandal and decided to shed light on this situation because I felt like it had been underreported massively. A part of that video also focused on Harmful Opinions and his victim blaming of the person who came forward against Ev3ntic, which caused Harmful Opinions to respond to my video in a live stream, and his response ended up being extremely underwhelming as he fails to take any accountability and spends most of his time throwing meaningless insults at me while pausing my upload every 5 seconds. But funnily enough, the true reason my video got so much hate boils down to there being another faction of people who claim it's immoral that I even talked about this situation in the first place, cause Otzdarva told people not to talk about it. Now I do find it interesting that the Harmful Opinions camp holds the strong belief that all the allegations against Ev3ntic are completely pointless and shouldn't be taken seriously, while the mainstream DVD audience blindly believes the allegations 100% to the point where they want Ev3ntic to be permanently gone from YouTube and attempt to prevent people from ever talking about her. Yet somehow both of these camps came together to try and disprove my video, even though they have completely fundamentally opposing views on the credibility of the accusations. But I guess this is just what happens when you try to review a situation in a balanced way. You're just gonna piss off both sides of the extremists and they'll work together to try and discredit you despite their incompatible beliefs. But thank you regardless to everyone who gave my breakdown a shot and supported the video. I appreciate it so much. Now regarding the DBD community criticizing the video, I was siding with Ev3ntic's victim and portrayed Otzdarva in a sympathetic light throughout my breakdown. Therefore the community didn't even have an issue with what I said in my video. Instead they were just calling me immoral for making it in the first place because Otzdarva specifically told everyone to not create content about the situation. Now I do kind of get that perspective in a way. It's definitely more reasonable than the Harmful Opinions camp, but to me this whole situation boils down to being a matter of public interest. The partner of this famous YouTuber randomly disappeared from the internet. Fans have been left in the dark about her absence because Otzdarva never talked about it outside of one Twitter post. Therefore I decided to shed light on the situation and clear up a lot of the confusion, which led to a lot of people discovering what went down and thanking me for making the video, as they had no idea what happened to Ev3ntic, as proven by a lot of the comments under my video. So I 100% perceive this as a matter of public interest, and I still feel like the topic needed to be discussed. I did not respect Otzdarva's wish, because he simply does not have authority over my decision making. You can call me disrespectful for going through with it, sure, but this isn't some sort of immoral act. I'm just discussing matters of public interest. It's the nature of the internet. If my channel had 500,000 subs and then my partner, who features in a lot of my videos, got accused of sexual harassment, I would 100% expect the commentary sphere to talk about the situation, because there's just a demand for these type of videos. Plus that content obviously leaves a positive impact as it provides information which leads to a good amount of people finding out about a given situation and stopping their support of the accused creator, meaning the creator actually suffers consequences for their terrible actions instead of everyone just ignoring it. So looking past the absolutely brain dead premise of launching allegations and then expecting people not to talk about it, which I ridiculed enough in my last video. I just honestly believe that if you think we all should respect YouTubers' wishes when they want public allegations they sometimes themselves made public in the first place to be ignored, then I encourage you to respect my wish that you never bother to watch my channel ever again. So let's now actually get into Harmful Opinions' response. Now he spends the absolute majority of his livestream ridiculing my accent and attempting to figure out where I'm from, which results in him and his chat eventually concluding that I'm in fact Indian, leading to a bunch of racist comments on my video. Now I do find it sickening how normalized discrimination against Indians has become over the past 2 years. I mean, there's an argument to be made that a few stereotypes are based on some truth, but the overall racism has just gone way too far in my opinion, because these people try to discredit my video on the basis that I am Indian, which fun fact, I'm not. I don't know how you can possibly listen to me speak and conclude that I'm from India. If you think this is what an Indian accent sounds like, you're probably also the type of person who believes that the Super Bowl is the biggest international sports event of any year. Anyway, it's been amusing watching his chat being unable to identify where I'm actually from, despite that literally being information I made public in my recent Q&A, showcasing how little research these guys bother to put into their videos. Like seriously, not a single person in his chat even guessed my ethnicity right. Although I have to say the actual hatred these people have against foreigners is deeply depressing. I mean, the sheer amount of racist comments baffles me, especially since almost all of the accounts posting these comments have been created over 15 years ago. So these are most likely 30-plus-year-old people spamming racist comments against a random 20-year-old on YouTube. Like, get a life, boomer. But to be honest, I should have seen it coming, cause Harmful Opinions has actually been around on YouTube for ages. He originated from the skeptic and Bloodsports debate community, and in case you're unaware, the absolute majority of the people that made up that community became extremely political in order to attempt to build themselves an overly loyal echo chamber audience. And to me, it's now become clear that Harmful Opinions also prioritizes growing his Hivemind audience instead of actively engaging with actual criticism. Since he spent his whole response livestream disagreeing with every single minor point I made just for the sake of rallying his audience up against me, while actively banning everyone from his viewership that disagreed with his assessment of the situation, as he does not tolerate people disagreeing with him. The banning of people confirmed to me that he essentially just wants this parasocial, extremely loyal audience who will stick by him no matter what, and looking back on it, I do feel sort of foolish for even believing I could change this dude's mind with my video. Like, I was honestly attempting to empathize and reason with Harmful Opinion viewers, because that's generally what you're supposed to do when attempting to change people's viewpoints. You need to take their perspective into account, but after interacting with Harmful Opinions viewers, I fundamentally don't believe I could ever reach common ground with these people and their Soyjack King's barbaric worldview, so I don't even care about alienating them anymore in the slightest. But there's a massive positive to all of this, since he mainly just responded with "I disagree," or "this is wrong," or "you are Indian" to most of my points. He didn't actually make a lot of arguments himself that I have to debunk, meaning I luckily don't have to create another 2-hour response video to someone. However, I'll briefly explain why the points he did attempt to make are completely wrong. Now, just as a heads up, because of the strike on my channel, I don't want to show any of his footage, because I can't risk someone else using this as an opportunity to strike me down while I still suffer from an active strike, since another strike would result in an upload ban. And while I think it's unlikely that Harmful Opinions would resort to striking down my video, I just don't want to take any chances at this moment right now. So therefore, I will just summarize his points, but I will have his full response linked down below if you want to check it out. Now, the first statement Harmful Opinions had a massive problem with was me saying that as a 20-year-old, a 32-year-old woman making sexual advances towards me would, quote, weird me out quite a bit. Another aspect I want to get into is the age gap. Now, I would not define it as actively harmful for a woman in her 30s to sexually engage with a 20-year-old, but it is still weird to me. Like, I just turned 20, and if a 32-year-old woman made sexual advances toward me, that would definitely weird me out quite a bit. Now, for reference, Ev3ntic, who is 32, got accused of sending sexual images and making unwanted advances towards a 20-year-old, and that same 20-year-old reacted by claiming that he felt extremely uncomfortable and publicly shaming Ev3ntic for her behavior. Now, Harmful Opinions used my statement to construct a strawman argument to basically call me a sheltered incel and assume that had this exact situation happened to me, I would have also gone public and made Twitter allegations. However, this is not true in the slightest. I wasn't saying that I would have gone down the same route and publicly claimed to be a victim. I was just saying it would weird me out. If this situation happened to me, my honest reaction would have probably been to just laugh at it or be confused by it and then move on. This wouldn't have affected me in the slightest, but it would still obviously be weird and unusual. I am certain of this because it has happened before. There's this really interesting comment one of Harmful Opinions viewers left on my channel. The guy explains that when he was 18, older women oftentimes approached him at bars and that it never bothered him. He just considers it a funny occurrence. Now, I've experienced this exact situation over 10 times at this point. I used to bartend almost every single day between January and October of 2023 while I was 18 or 19 years old, and the shit some drunk middle-aged women said to me during the night would blow this guy's mind. Like, I genuinely believe drunk middle-aged women are some of the most criminally horny creatures on earth. But while these interactions weirded me out, I usually just laughed about it with my coworkers or friends. It's never been something that actively bothered me. There's people falling for Harmful Opinions lie that I'm scared of older women, when in reality all I'm saying is that I just wouldn't reciprocate advances. Obviously I wouldn't be scared, and it also wouldn't even have some sort of negative effect on me. I am genuinely shocked that me saying a 32-year-old woman making unwanted sexual advances towards me weirds me out is somehow considered an unpopular statement. Like, I'm just not gonna date a person that's 12 years older than me. How is that at all controversial? My actual opinion on the matter has always been and will always be that it would personally just confuse me if it happened to me, because I would expect women that age to go for men in a similar age range, but I would never claim to be harassed in any way and just ignore the situation or laugh about it. However, I fully understand that not everyone feels the same, and if Ev3ntic's victim felt harassed through her unwanted advances, he is fully within his right to publicly expose her inappropriate actions and claim to be a victim of sexual harassment, because I do believe sexual harassment against men should also be seen as a problem. This has always been my take, and if Harmful Opinions tries to convince you otherwise, he's just lying or building a straw man so he can then tear down that straw man argument instead of actually engaging with my points. Now, the main argument Harmful Opinions presented during his response revolved around an assumption I made about him. I proclaimed that Harmful Opinions would hold a completely different opinion about the situation if the gender roles were reversed and a 32-year-old man continuously sent inappropriate pictures of himself to a 20-year-old woman. Now, Harmful Opinions immediately jumped on this and proudly announced that I, in fact, had no evidence for this claim and that he would hold the exact same opinion regardless of the gender of the people involved, and therefore all the arguments I made based on this assumption are completely false because I'm arguing against a made-up version of him. Now, I made a mistake here. I should have clarified that certain parts of my line of argumentation were in fact based on that assumption, and that I didn't outright have proof Harmful Opinions would change his opinion based on the stereotypical gender roles at play. But the reason I didn't is simply because I thought it would be the obvious common sense opinion almost every single YouTuber would hold. I get that at first it may seem like Harmful Opinions owned me here by showing how I lacked proof, but just try sticking with me here for a few seconds. I'll show you how this doesn't make sense at all. Because once you put a little bit of thought into his claims, you will quickly realize that he's only made things worse for himself by claiming this in the first place. So Harmful Opinions believes Ev3ntic, a 32-year-old woman repeatedly sending sexual images to a 20-year-old who did not reciprocate her advances, does not constitute as sexual harassment. He thinks the victim in question is a crybaby who shouldn't have been bothered by the images he received. He claims that even if he actively told her to stop multiple times and she kept sending pictures anyway, it's still not an issue, and he believes that calling this out is going to lead to women being scared of sending unprompted nude images, which will have an overall negative impact on men online. Now, I made the assumption that he wouldn't hold these same opinions if a man did all of this, and then went on to call him hypocritical and sexist because his take had been fundamentally altered by the change of the stereotypical gender roles at play. Now, since he's saying I'm wrong and that his take wouldn't change at all, in my opinion his overall position becomes even worse. So he's claiming he would hold all of these same opinions if a 32-year-old man did this to a 20-year-old woman. If a 32-year-old man, famous content creator I should add, continuously sent inappropriate inappropriate images to a random 20-year-old woman and kept going even after she explicitly told him to stop, that still wouldn't be an issue and not sexual harassment. That take would be completely indefensible. That's why I assumed he would change these takes. But since he's saying his coverage is completely unbiased and didn't get affected by the gender roles at play, congratulations, Tim. These are now the opinions you claim to hold and you now have to defend if you don't want me labeling you as an obvious hypocrite. So I guess I can just label you as an insane sexist instead, because these opinions are truly outrageous. I believe even hardcore Harmful Opinions fans would struggle to justify this. So turns out, if we think about my argument for more than 5 seconds, we'd realize it was the only logical assumption to make, and my line of argumentation painting him as a hypocrite actually made him appear a lot more defensible than whatever these points are supposed to be. The reality of the situation is, based on his terrible takes in his initial video, Harmful Opinions is either a biased hypocrite or a blatant sexist and misogynist. There is no good ending because his takes were horrible, that's why I called him out. Now the last point I want to briefly address revolved around the nature of the pictures. In his videos covering the situation, Harmful Opinions constantly emphasizes that these inappropriate pictures weren't fully naked, but instead just lewds. Now he does this to downplay Ev3ntic's actions, and he points to this passage in the exposed document as his evidence to back up his claim. However, I want to clear up that it's unknown whether or not Ev3ntic also sent full-on nudes. While most pictures were purely described as either inappropriate or lewd, there are also specific mentions of fully naked pictures in the document, meaning Ev3ntic most likely sent naked pictures as well as half-naked ones to her victim, instead of exclusively half-naked ones like Harmful Opinions claims. Now these were the only arguments he brought up during his response. The rest boils down to insults, ridiculing my accent, a bunch of "that's not true" without explaining why, and the occasional banning of people disagreeing with him. I do have to admit that this response disappointed me quite a bit, because I expected him to at least give the video a fair shot and reconsider some of his takes. But he clearly just wants to build himself a Hivemind audience for profit, so he didn't take any accountability, brought up easily debunkable arguments which I highly question he himself even thought through properly, and just sent his audience over to call me racist slurs cause he dislikes my accent. By the way, I thought my accent gave the videos a little bit of personality, but I guess I can try and tone it down a bit. Now in retrospect, I realized that I probably should have shortened the section about him in my video, because there's probably no way I could have ever convinced Harmful Opinions audience that he was wrong on this, especially since he didn't actively do anything wrong, he just shared a bad take, which a lot of people aren't even gonna care about in the first place. Also, this situation kind of just feels not resolvable. Maybe I am too left-leaning for this community, but I just fundamentally believe that sexual harassment through the internet is an issue for women as well as for men, and that men can also be victims of sexual harassment, and Harmful Opinions obviously believes that any man complaining about receiving unwanted nudes by women is just a massive pussy or whatever. So he's not gonna change my mind, I'm not gonna change his mind, so it's kind of resulted in a stalemate of some sorts, meaning I don't believe this drama is ever gonna go anywhere, unfortunately. But I did have some other unbiased streamers watch the video, and I pretty much exclusively received positive feedback, so I'm gonna keep doing these objective commentary videos, even if they almost always result in two extremes coming together to send hate to my channel. But I will say this as a warning to everyone watching my channel: if you leave positive comments under my videos, don't be surprised when people respond with hate. It's just unfortunately the way things are gonna go, because I'm probably gonna continue to piss off a bunch of people. But to everyone who actively supports me and the channel nevertheless, I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll keep going after these narcissistic political streamers, because they truly appear to be some of the most unlikable people on this entire platform.